A pleasant morning to a pleasant morning to everyone. I welcome you all for the last session of Conclave 2021, which is a student webinar series organized by the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Dempe College of Arts and Science. The theme for this year's program is India at 75. Our students have presented on a wide spectrum of topics and taken us on a journey of India's progression in various fields in the last 75 years. Today, also, our students are here before us with more such topics. I now kindly request IQAC committee member Dr. Swati Pawar to introduce the chairperson for today's session. Over to you, Miss.
Good morning, everyone, and once again, warm welcome to all of you. I'm very happy to introduce today's chairperson, our alumnus, Mr. Aureliano de Oliveira, popularly known as Oro. He has passed out his BA from Tempe College of Arts and Science in 2003. He did his LLB from VM Sargavkar College of Law in 2006. He practiced as criminal advocate in the High Court of Bombay at Panji Goa bench. He also worked as a member of Child Welfare Committee under Juvenile Justice Act, Child for Child Care and Protection at Apnagar in Merces for 2 consecutive terms. Presently, he is working as a presiding member, that is, judge of North Goa District Consumer Dispute and Redressal Commission at Porvorim. I'm very happy and I am thankful that he has joined as a chairperson, and I now hand it over to Siddhi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Swati. I would now like to introduce our student presenters for today. Before that, all the participants kindly note that during the sessions you have to mute your mics, and also the question answer session will be taken after individual sessions. So in between the session you can ask your questions in the chat box. Our first presenter for today is Ms. Xenia Coral Clement Bregenza from second year BA. She will be presenting on the topic Indian Judiciary at 75. She is being mentored by Dr. Karuna Singh. Over to you, Xenia.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good morning, respected principal, teachers, chairperson, and all of you, my dear friends. At the outset, I would like to begin by first thanking the Almighty and our college, Dempe College of Arts and Science, Miramar, for giving us this opportunity and organizing Conclave 2021. By giving us this opportunity, we can showcase our talents and interests beyond the curriculum. The topic that I have chosen for today is Indian Judiciary at 75. In the words of Andrew Jackson, the seventh President of the United States, all the rights secured to the citizens under the Constitution are worth nothing and are a mere bubble, except guaranteed to them by an independent and virtuous judiciary. Yes, such is the immense importance of the third pillar of any democratic setup that it cannot be ignored. As we all know, the judiciary is the guardian of the as we all know, the judiciary is the guardian of the Indian Constitution. Excuse me for a minute. Thank you. As we all know, the judiciary is the guardian of the human rights, protector of the constitution, and promoter of peace and cordiality in India. And it checks and balances the legislative and executive actions of the government. We also know, and it can be seen on the screen, that the motto of the Indian judicial system is Yato Dharmastato Jai, which means where there is righteousness, that is Dharma, there is victory, that is Jaya. Since the framing of the Constitution in 1950, we have incorporated a concept called judicial review. Now, judicial review ensures a system of checks and balances between the legislative and the executive on one hand and the judiciary on the other. Thus, the judiciary's role is to review executive actions and declare whether these actions conform with the dictates of the Constitution or not. However, due to certain inactions on the part of the executive in the past, the courts of today are not just remaining passive with the negative attitude of merely striking down a law, but they have developed a new attitude towards directing positive affirmative actions, thereby issuing orders and decrees directing remedial actions. We shall now investigate this turn of events and see how judicial review slowly gave rise to judicial activism. The advent of judicial activism in India. The evolution of the theory of judicial activism can be traced back to the 1960s and 70s, when Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. Now, when the late Mrs. Gandhi attempted to introduce progressive socialistic measures in order to implement her favorite slogan, Garibi Hatao, by abolishing privy purses and privileges given to the erstwhile Rajas of the princely states, and when she attempted nationalizing the 14 major banks of the country, the Supreme Court struck down the relevant legislation as unconstitutional. This judgment of the Supreme Court was considered by Mrs. Gandhi to be judicial overreach, and on the advice of her union ministers, the judges of the Supreme Court who participated in the above cases were passed over for appointment as Chief Justice, while the dissenting judge, Mr. A. N. Ray, was appointed. This marked the starting point of judicial activism in India. As is visible on the screen, the Privy Purse case was fought between Madhavrao Jivajirao Scindia and the Union of India in 1917. In this case, the Supreme Court declared that derecognizing a ruler without providing for the continuation of the institution of his rule was illegal. The bank nationalization case the bank nationalization case was fought between R.C. Cooper and the Union of India in 1970. The Supreme Court struck down this act on the grounds of unreasonableness. A few examples of famous cases of judicial activism are the Golaknath versus State of Punjab case, which can be seen on the screen. In this case, the Supreme Court said that the Parliament could not amend Part 3, which are the fundamental rights of the Indian Constitution. Another very famous case is the Keshavnand Bharti versus State of Kerala case fought in 1973. In this case, the Supreme Court evolved the concept of basic structure of the Constitution, wherein it stated that the Parliament had wide powers to amend the Constitution extending to all articles, but this power could not be used in an unlimited way to abridge, abrogate, or destroy the basic framework of the Constitution. Now we shall look at the PIL or public interest litigation regime, which is also called a heyday. It was a heyday of judicial activism. Judicial activism earned a humane face in India with the liberalizing of access to justice and granting of reliefs to disadvantaged groups and the have-nots through the public interest litigation. In 1979, in the Husinara Khatun versus State of Bihar case, the Supreme Court first took up PIL action on behalf of prisoners who were awaiting trial who had been languishing in jails for periods longer than their maximum punishment prescribed for the offenses they committed. The court issued directions to appropriate relief to these prisoners. we shall now look at judicial activism and environmental jurisprudence. This network of principles and doctrines that enrich environmental jurisprudence, all of them owe their existence to public interest litigation cases. In the oleum gas leak case in 1985, the Supreme Court formulated the doctrine of absolute liability for harm caused by hazardous and dangerous industries. The court also propounded very famous principles like sustainable development and the polluter pays principle. Now, in the Narmada Bachao Andolan case fought in 2000, the court ensured that development by way of building of dams does not take its toll on the employment, shelter, and homes of the people. It has directed the concerned state governments of Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Madhya Pradesh to rehabilitate the displaced people before going ahead with the dam project. We shall now see how inaction on the part of the executive has led to judicial overreach. Judicial overreach is a concept which states that when the judiciary starts interfering with the proper functioning of the legislative and executive organs of the government is termed as judicial overreach. Judiciary intervenes when the executive fails in its constitutional duties, said former Chief Justice of India, Mr. T.S. Thakur. I shall now present before you some examples of judicial overreach of judicial intervention which have occurred in recent times. The first headline, as you can see on the screen, is picked up from the O Heraldo newspaper from as recent as 16 November 2021. It states, High Court pulls up government on taxi fare meters issue. Now, if you all remember, this is when the court sought to know why the contractors were delaying in the installation of digital meters in taxis. It asked the Transport Department to take action against the suppliers if they were responsible for the delay. Next headline is from the Times of India newspaper dated 17 November 2021. It states, Will throw out deficient affidavit, angry Supreme Court to the government. This was the Supreme Court's earnest endeavor to make the centre frame a uniform policy, and the latter not keeping its solemn promise to work towards it, irked Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramana. The third headline which I have picked up is with regards to the height of the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in Goa, when the Bombay High Court at Goa pulled up the state government for proceeding to carve out exceptions in favor of residents in Goa entering into the state, despite its clear order that no persons are permitted entry into the state unless they possess a negative certificate. In conclusion, I would like to quote Voltaire when he says, With great power comes great responsibility. In this 15 minutes time allotted to me, justice cannot be fully done to this vast and intriguing topic on the Indian judicial system and how it has evolved in the past 75 years. Yet, I've tried my level best to highlight the main developments these 75 years. We all know that there are four pillars of any democracy: the executive, legislature, judiciary, and the media. When the first two fail, the third takes over. The judiciary has been carrying this heavy burden all through the years. Constitutionally, the Supreme Court is the guardian of the Indian Constitution. As a student, I have certain concerns and certain legitimate questions which really trouble people of our generation. These can be summarized into two. Is judicial activism a matter of concern, or is executive inaction the actual cause of concern? This is some food for thought for today, and I would like to end on this point and allow us to think on something which says, what would have happened if the judiciary had not intervened? Maybe we cannot even visualize what our state of affairs would have been then. Thank you.
Thank you, Xenia, for enlightening us on the Indian judiciary during the last 75 years and the present scenario as well. You have very well fitted your presentation in the time allotted to you. Now we will move on to the question and answer session. If anyone has any questions, you may post it in the chat box, or you can unmute your mics and you can answer ask your questions. Linia, there is a question in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Samir, for the question. Your question states, do you think the soul of democracy, freedom of expression is dying? It's my humble opinion. I feel it is not dying, but as people are becoming more aware of their rights, they are using it in excess. Somewhere or the other, it has been used in excess. If it is used in limitations, it can keep the institutions in check. But if it is used in excess, it can cause a problem. So I don't think it is dying, but over excess use also isn't good.
Any more questions? We'll now continue with our next presenter. Our next presenter is Ms. Nazel Rodriguez from TYBA Kokni. She will be presenting on the topic India at 75 with special reference to Kokni Theatre. Her mentor is Mrs. Anju Sakhardande. Over to you, Sneasel.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank respective principal, chairman, and the moderator, and my respective teachers for giving me this chance and this opportunity to present my views on Konkani Theatre. Before I start with my presentation, I would like to share a small album of mine, which y'all will hear, and I hope y'all all like it. It got shared only.
Koren zagle diste kushala misale Anto shepayan shemaya smidana Anga kunka te futyani udio maru Dongra veli kali kanani tuna Adi pause kotlok shetaroi Ata pushi barik shetan kono Ami ruini zala shetan kantoru Muncha baba shetan kono tena Adi kamola plemoda chetingewan Shetan baur kori goi kada plevano Shet molun bat gorat rashid dali Bat me stalinge ulla keda chupailo Ata molun varche potak baile gadi Ani lungi eta chena mami wolyo Yate pata chupailo sona Dat me se potage munchi mi da chukailo Sokal pude ruchi kunde hare Mate pate geun goiche amche pode Te poder mele unde kabazale Ata unde abastat sogle voile bonde Benda kati bandun sobit kadar muro Mara choron sur gari goiche rende Ata festak sanna सान्नां करूंक सुरूच मेवना. तांदूळ वाटून पिठान घालचो पडटा फुमे. दिसान दीस संवसार मोडन जायत वेता. बारीक चिंतून पळयात मारिना फोटी. बाजारान दिट्या नुस्तेकारां बामणी. ताजें नुस्तें विकी दीस आनी राती. आतां फॉर्मालिनाचो लेपोट काडून गोंयभर नुस्तें विकूंक भोंवता वयले गांठी. कोडी वाटून बांगडे कोडीन भितर घालतो. फक्त तो येतोच बांगड्याची जाता माती. पुर्वज आमचे फेस्तां पुरबो गाजयताले. गोंयार फोगोट्याचो सगळोच कोडकोड करून. घरांत सान्नां सरपोतेल शिजयताले. मातयेची आयदनां चुलीर आपले दवरून. आतां गोवान बायलेक चिकन रांदगो म्हटल्यार बायल रागान कुसनान दांड्यो घालता फोडून. गोवाक शीत आसल्यार शिताक कोडी मेवना. गोमागीर जेवता हॉटलायनी भाजी हाडून. आदल्या लोकांचे बारीक आमी चिंतल्यार बरो इतिहास ताणीं लागून. त्या तेंपारे किरमी दोरचा पडल्यार शिक्षा दिताले कॉलर ताका मारून. आयच्या तेंपार चोरी आदात तोल्या चोरा. पुलीस दुसरे दीस रोखडेच दितात सोडून. कायदो सगळो उलटो अंत घालून जाला. आयज कायदो पडटा दुसरे दीस उडयतात मोडून. कायदो सगळो उलटो अंत घालून जाला. आयज कायदो पडटा दुसरे दीस उडयतात मोडून.
Lacoste presents Match.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to share my presentation to you. So, माझो टॉपिक इंडिया at the rate with special reference to कोंकणी तियात्र. तियात्र हो गोंयचो क्रिस्तांवांनी केळयलो एक आगलो वेगळो नाट्य प्रकार. तियात्र हें उतर मूळ पोर्चुगीज भाशेंतल्यान तियात्रो ह्या उतरावयल्यान आयलां. इंग्लिशीन ताका थिएटर अशें म्हणटा. आतां थिएटर म्हणल्यार सिनेमा घर वा नाटक घर. पूण आमच्या कोंकणी भाशेन ह्या उतराक खाशेलो अर्थ आसा. तियात्र हो देसी भाशेंतल्यान फुलपी पूण आसतना संस्कृती आनी दायज चलोवपी एक प्रभाव नाट्य प्रकार. तियात्राची मूळ जागरांत आनी केलांत जमनीवयल्यान फोलांत आसा. गितां, कांतारां, ल्हान ल्हान नाटकां बी बारीक असली माचयेर दाखयतात. तसोच हो तियात्र एक केलाचो प्रकार. रेडिओ तियात्राक लोका केल म्हणटात. केल तियात्र नॉन स्टॉप ड्रामा हे तियात्राचे उपप्रकार. तियात्र बरोवपी, वाजोवपी, पडोवपी हे चडशे क्रिस्तांव समाजांतले आसतात. तियात्र चड करून 3 ते 4 वरां चलतात. तातूंत 7 वा 8 पोड्डे आसतात. ह्या सगळ्या पोड्ड्यांतल्यान तियात्रांतल्यान कोणाचे अर्थ वाटेंत वेता. कातार हो तियात्रांतलो एक महावेतलो घाटक. कातार हे मूळ पोर्चुगीज कांतो ह्या उतरांतल्यान येयला. ताचो अर्थ गावप असे जाता. कातारां गावप कालावान अशें म्हणटा. गावपाक संगीताचें साद आसता. तियात्रांतल्यान कर्तेक कडेन कसलोच संबंद नासलो तरी कातार हो तियात्राचो प्राण म्हणल्यार जाता. तियात्राचो सुमार अर्दो वेळ कातारां आनी संगीताचेर वेता. तियात्र सदांच कातारांनी सोंपता. ह्या निमाण कातारान चड करून कसली तरी शिकवण दिल्ली आसता. पयलो तियात्र इटालियन भुरगो आल्फ्रेड तियात्र मुंबय हांगा दाखयलो. लुकासिन्यो रिबेलो ताच्या सांगाताक 1892 ह्या वर्सा पयल्या बॉम्बेच्या तियात्र घेवन गोंयांत आयलो आनी लोकांक ताका खूब आवडलें. देखून लोक तांकां चालू रावताले. उपरांत गोंयकार आतां गोंयांत खूब तियात्र चालू जाले. सुर्गेस्त आगोस्तिनो फेर्नांदीस आमी कोंकणी भाशेचो बापूय म्हूण पाचारता. तियात्र एट द रेट 2075 गोंयांत वा भारतांत वा संवसारांत चलतलो कांय ना. हेंवूय बी आनी हांव कांय महालगड्यो लागीं उलयले. ते म्हणटात ज्या रुपांत सद्दां आसा त्या रुपांत उरचो ना. नव्या रुपांत तो येतलो. जोरी तर वाड्यांत वो गांवांत फेस्त आसता तर पयलो गोंयकार विचारता कसलो तियात्र आसा. तियात्र हो जण एका गोंयकाराच्या रोगतान रिगलोलो आसा. तियात्र म्हणल्यार दर एक गोंयकार न्हिदलोलो न्हू पूण बरो नाचलोलो आसा जाल्यार पासून तो तियात्र पळोवपाक येता. तर तियात्र 2075 ह्या वर्सा चलतलो अशें म्हाका दिसता. आमच्या तरणाट्यांक ताची कला दाखोवपाक मेळची ना. ह्या खातीर आतां सगल्यांनी आपली पर्सनल यूट्यूब चॅनल्स ओपन केल्या आनी आपल्या कला ती सोशल मिडियाचेर सांगातान दाखोवंक कोत्ता. तियात्र हो 2075 ह्या वर्सा चलूंक जाय. कित्याक आतां नया नया डायरेक्टरांनी पासून धाकट्या भुरग्यांक आतां जीं भुरगीं माचयेर येवंक सोदतात तांकां तांणी चान्स दिवंक जाय असो म्हाजो ओपिनियन. 17 एप्रील 1892 ह्या म्हयन्यांत रिबेलियन कोंकणी तियात्राचो बुन्याद मारली आनी त्या वर्सा एप्रिलांत ताचो पयलो ओपेरा इटालियन भुरगो न्यू आल्फ्रेड तियात्र हातूंत दाखयलो आनी ह्या उपरांत तियात्र चालू जालें. आमी म्हणटात तियात्राक खूब फुडार आसा. तियात्र खूब बरें चलता. देखून मिनीन दे बांदार, सोकोत दे सांता क्रूज तशेंच जायते डायरेक्टर 200 शोज केल्या म्हणजे डबल सेंचुरी. गोंयांत तशें मुंबय, पुणे, गुजरात, दिल्ली, लंडन तशेंच जायत्या भायल्या देशांनी तियात्र जिवे आसा. आतां त्या सेंचुरी म्हणल्यार सगळ्यांक पळोवंक मेळटा तरी लोक उपट घेवन तियात्र पळोवंक वेता. देव बरें करूं.
Thank you, Sneezal, for showcasing the beauty of Kokni Theatre. I hope the future of the Kokni Theatre will be as brighter than ever. Now, let us move on to the and answer session. If anybody has any questions, you may post it in the chat box, or you can unmute your mics and ask the questions directly. Okay, so let us move forward now. Up next, we have our next presenters, Mr. Atharva Bapat and Mr. K. Ratnagiri Manikandan from TYBA Economics, and they will be presenting on the topic Cricket in India Post Independence Era, that is from 1947 to 2021. They are being mentored by Dr. Shilpa Samant. Over to you, Atharva and Ratnagiri.
Am I audible? Okay. So, good morning to all. Myself, Atharva Vinayak Bapat,
And I'm K. Ratnagiri Manikandan.
and we will be presenting on the topic Cricket in India through the ages. So, as we all know, India completed 75 years of independence, and we celebrate it as the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Our country has witnessed a transition in every sphere of life. May it be respect to our economy, our way of living, or our culture, everything has seen a gradual increase over the years. And in terms of sports also, we have increased drastically. And today India is the most popular sport in our country. Almost every person in our country knows what cricket is. They watch cricket, they play cricket, and most of them worship the game of cricket. So now let us see the journey of cricket in India. So the beginning of cricket in India from 1800s to 1918. So the British brought cricket to India in the early 1700s, with the first documented instance of cricket being played is in 1721. The first ever test match of first class cricket played in India was in 1864 between the Madras and the Kolkata. The first Indian community which started playing cricket were the Parsis in 1848, and by 1892 they became the proficient enough to play the matches against the Europeans. Then, in the same season, the Lord Hawke captained an English team that played four first class matches, including a game against Parsis from 26 to 28 Jan 1893. And the Hindus started playing their first class cricket in 1907, and the tournament became the triangular tournament with which included the Parsi, the Europeans, and the Hindus. And later in 1912, the Muslims also also entered the arena of first class cricket. And the tournament was then called the quadrangular tournament with the four teams: the Europeans, the Parsis, the Hindus, and the Muslims, when they play against each other. So here are the glimpses of the Lord Hawks European team, and here it is the Parsis team of 1890s. So the history of cricket from 1918 to 1945. The BCCI, or the Board of Control for Cricket in India board, was formed in December 1928 as a society registered under the Tamil Nadu Societies Registration Act. The Ranji Trophy was launched as India's national championship following a meeting of Board of Control of Cricket in India in July 1934, and the competition began in the 1934-35 season. The trophy was donated by the Maharaja of Patiala, Bhupinder Singh, and it was named after one of the greatest batsmen of that era, Sir K.S. Ranjit Singh. Ranjit Singh was also known as the Ranji and the ruler of Indian princely states of Navanagar from 1907 to 1933. The Test cricketer who played for English cricket team, Ranji was widely been regarded as one of the greatest batsmen of that time. And the first class tournament in India, the Ranji Trophy, was named in his honor and was inaugurated in 1935. So here is the first BCCI committee and Sir Maharaja and Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And the first Ranji winning team, Bombay. So now we'll see India at the international level. India's debut in Test cricket was in 1932 during an English season when they played England at Lord's Cricket Ground. Here it was no more the Parsis, the Muslims, or the Hindus. They united as a nation and they played together as a nation. The team was led by Kottari Kanakaiya Naidu, or the CK Naidu, as we all know, was the India's first test captain. And India was the sixth nation to get the test status after the Australians, the New Zealand, the England, West Indies, and South Africa. But unfortunately, we lost this match and England won by 158 runs. So here our first test captain, Sir CK Naidu, and it was our first team to play their first test match. So later, after 20 long years from 1932, in 1951-52 season, India registered their first ever test victory.
No, because I
India's
just
first
wanted
test
to.
victory over England in India
And
as
ये
an
कि नहीं?
independent nation. Vijay Hazare was the first
So
captain who
this
led
is
Team
different. This
India
is
to win
different.
their first test match. Vinu Mankad and Polly Umigar was the heroes of this match. The team led by Vijay Hazare demolished the English side by an innings and 8 runs, with Vinu Mankad picking up 12 wickets. So here are the glimpses of our first test victory, the captain and the team. The heroes of our first test victory. Vinu Mankad ran through the side and returned with the figures of 38 overs, 15 maidens, 55 runs and 8 wickets in the first innings, and 30 overs, 9 maidens, 53 runs and 4 wickets in second innings to give India its first test victory with 12 wickets in a match. Polly Umigar went in and smashed an unbeaten 130 run, and his innings went on to define the test as a result to create history. With years passing by, we saw many greats become legends. Mansur Ali Khan Pataudi, Kapil Dev, Bishan Singh Bedi, and Lala Amarnath, who gave Indian cricket the revolution it sought. Under the leadership of young Tiger Pataudi, Indian cricket team defeated New Zealand by 5 wickets at Dordin in 1968. India's first test victory in New Zealand and on the foreign soil. So here are the glimpses of the team and the captain who led our first victory in the foreign soil. Now, in 1970s, when the Indian side demolished the mighty West Indies side, the Indian national team toured West Indies during the 1970-71 cricket season. Ajit Wadekar was appointed as the test captain for this tour, and it was India's first ever test victory and test series victory over the West Indies. They played the 5 matches against the West Indies side, winning it by 1-0. The series marked the international debut for the batting maestro Sunil Gavaskar. So here are the glimpses of the captain and the team. So the rise of the Little Master. As we all know, Sunil Manohar Gavaskar, our Little Master, did his debut in this particular series. He scored heavily in this series while facing the mighty West Indies bowling attack. He smashed 4 centuries and a double century and smashed whooping 774 runs in a 5-match series, which is still the most by any batsman till date. It was indeed the rise of the legend, Sir Sunil Gavaskar. So to summarize, Indian cricket has developed over the years and we have seen its improvement over the years. It had established themselves as a strong cricketing nation till the 1970s, and we saw many legends, and it was a beginning of dominance of Indians in the cricket arena. Now I will request Mani to continue this legacy forward.
Hello, good morning everyone. Am I audible? Clear? Thank you. I shall present my screen. Okay, is it visible? Just give me a minute. Yeah. Visible. Thank you. Okay. So very good morning, everyone. I shall continue with the legacy of cricket in India from the 1970s. In the 1970s, as far as domestic cricket is concerned, the Bombay Cricket Association continued to dominate with only a few other teams like Karnataka and Delhi that could actually mount any kind of challenge during this period. Internationally, India won a test series in England for the very first time in 1971. Indian cricket team also began to see success overseas as they defeated New Zealand and held South Africa and Australia to a draw. 1970s also marked the emergence of two legendary batsmen in the team who were Sri Gundappa Vishwanath and Sri Sunil Gavaskar. The Indian team also made its ODI debut in 1974 and the Indian women's cricket team made its test debut in 1976. From 1980s onwards, several domestic cricket teams were renamed, the prominent ones being Mumbai from Bombay Cricket Association and Kolkata from Calcutta Cricket Association. The Indian team consolidated an aggressive batting lineup in this decade with Dilip Vengsarkar, Mohammad Azharuddin and Ravi Shastri. But in the Test cricket, unfortunately, India lost 28 Test matches consecutively. Despite an appalling performance in the Test cricket, the 1980s serve as a landmark decade as India won its first World Cup. Back then, it was known as the Presidential Cup in the year 1983 under Sri Kapil Dev's captaincy. And his knock of 175 not out against Zimbabwe still blows away the minds of cricket fans. And it doesn't stop there. They emerged as winners of Asia Cup in 1984 and World Championship of Cricket, which was held in Melbourne, Australia in 1985. India also hosted the World Cup in the year 1987. The Indian cricket team witnessed crucial changes from the 21st century with the appointment of John Wright as the first foreign coach, and under his guidance, India maintained its unbeaten home record in Test cricket against Australia in 2001, which also marked the beginning of Sourav Ganguly's era as the team captain. Sri Sourav Ganguly, popularly acknowledged as Dada, was appointed as the captain of the Indian team after heavy turbulence in the team's performance under Sachin Tendulkar's captaincy. Regarded as one of India's most successful captains in modern times, Sri Sourav Ganguly is currently the 39th president of BCCI. In 2007, the captaincy was handed over to the world's only captain cool, Sri Mahendra Singh Dhoni. In his regime, India won all the ICC championships, which makes him a victor like no other. Some of his prominent personal achievements include his nomination for Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna, and the conferred post of Lieutenant Colonel by the paramilitary forces of India. Dhoni's cool-minded approach and the winning helicopter shot in the 2011 World Cup against Sri Lanka took his charisma to a whole new level. Sri Virat Kohli, the Indian cricket team's Test captain since 2014 and the captain in all other formats since 2017, makes him one of the most successful captains in the Indian history with an amazing winning ratio, even though the team hasn't won a lot of tournaments or leagues under his captaincy. He is the fastest Indian to score 1,000 runs in ODI, the fastest batsman in the world to score 10,000 ODI runs, and the batsman to hit most centuries in run chases, and the list of his achievements just go on and on. Currently, he only remains as India's Test captain, and the responsibility of captaincy in all other formats has been handed over to Sri Rohit Sharma. This legend we see here certainly deserves a special mention. Affectionately known as Master Blaster and officially acknowledged as the god of cricket, it is none other than Sri Sachin Tendulkar. The winner of 15 Man of the Series and 62 Man of the Match awards in ICC, He has been a key player in the team for all formats. A player who inspired millions to take up cricket as a career worldwide is the youngest awardee of India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. He is also the only sportsperson to receive it. Not only that, he was also one of the 12 nominated members of Rajya Sabha in 2012 and the only conferred group captain by the Indian Air Force without any aviation background. Here's a list of tournaments and leagues across all formats hosted by BCCI in our country. Women's cricket in India. I take immense pleasure in stating the following. Cricket is a sport that is played and watched by individuals regardless of their gender. Maybe not with the men's cricket team, but the women's cricket team made its debut few decades ago at a time when most of the girls were not even allowed to continue with their primary or secondary education. Acting as the torchbearers of feminism in India, they've not only promoted equality, but have also proved the evils of feminism wrong by doing everything a man does on the ground. The team it's reconnecting. Okay. Yeah, now. Yeah. Hello? Yeah, audible? My apologies, technical issues. We really can't help. Okay. Uh, was the beginning of women's cricket team in India audible or shall I? It was? Okay. Then I'll continue. Okay. As I said, acting as torchbearers of feminism in India, they've not only promoted equality, but have also proved the evils of feminism wrong by doing everything a man does on the ground. The team made their debut in Test cricket in 1976 with Srimati Shanta Rangaswamy, as you can see in the slide, as their first captain. They also won their first Test in 1978 against West Indies, and they made their ODI debut in 1978 again with West Indies. And presently, we have Srimati Harmanpreet Kaur, who's the T20 captain, Srimati Mithali Raj, who's the ODI and Test captain, and she is also the highest run-scoring Indian woman in the ODI format. And we have Srimati Julan Goswami, who's the highest ODI wicket taker from India. And this is the ICC Women Cricket Squad of India. Currently, the status of Indian cricket team as far as men's team is considered, we have the Indian cricket team currently topping the table of ICC Test rankings. Fourth place in ICC ODI and second place in ICC T20 rankings. As far as women's cricket is considered, the Indian cricket team has been 6-time champions of the Women's Asia Cup, 2 times finalist of Women's World Cup, and 1-time finalist of Women's T20 World Cup. Now, I request Atharva to present you with some facts associated with BCCI and IPL.
So now we'll see the functioning of BCCI. So BCCI is combined representatives from all the state boards, and all these representatives elect themselves a BCCI president. And it is an anonymous organization and does not come under any national sports federation of India. It does not review any grants or fundings from Sports Ministry of India, as it is an independent body. BCCI have two international cricket teams which represent India in the international cricket, which is the women's cricket team and the men's cricket team. And BCCI also monitors all the domestic leagues of our country, namely the Ranji Trophy, the Sayyad Mushtaq Ali Trophy, or the Irani Trophy. And BCCI is the richest cricket board in the world as of now. So R.E. Grant Govan was the first BCCI president, and current BCCI president is Sri Saurav Ganguly. So why BCCI is the richest cricketing board? First of all, the media rights. In the year 2008, Sony Networks and World Sports Networks together worked out a deal of rupees 8,200 crore rupees, gaining the viewership rights of the IPL. And now in 2021, BCCI sold the entire telecast rights of the IPL to Star Sports for a whopping $2.55 billion, striking a 5-year deal from 2018 to 2022. When it comes to the title sponsorship, uh, the current title sponsorship is owned by Paytm for whooping 203.28 crores to close the deal. For team sponsorship, the official team sponsors for a long time was Sahara India Private Limited, and later it was crowned to Star Sports and then to Oppo. And currently, Byju's took place as the team sponsors by paying about 1,079 crore rupees. For kit sponsors, earlier Nike was India's kit sponsor, paying BCCI around $12.13 million on yearly basis. Now it is MPL, and a number of other brands like the Hyundai or Ambuja Cement are also the sponsors of 270 crores. So it is the revenue generated from IPL 2021. So the Indian Premier League, it started in 2008. It consisted of 8 teams. The first IPL
Hello.
winner.
Thank you. Atharva, your time is up.
Okay.
Please, you can just wind up.
Thank you, Athurva and Ratnagiri Manikandan, for highlighting India's tremendous success in cricket. No wonder cricket is gaining a huge popularity these days. We can start with the question and answer session. If anyone has questions, you may please post in the chat box or unmute your mics and ask the question. Atharva, there are two questions in the chat box. You can answer them one by one.
Thank you, Anju ma'am, for your question. Dilip Sardesai was the Goan cricketer who represented at the national cricket tournament, and cricket is okay. Thank you.
We shall move on to our next presenter. We have our last presenter for today, Ms. Susanna Afonso from SYBSC, who will be presenting on the topic Universal Language of Humanity, Music. She is mentored by Dr. Manoj Ibrampurkar. Requesting Susanna to kindly take over.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you, the organizers and the geology department, for giving me this opportunity to present my topic. A warm welcome to everyone gathered here for today's conclave. My name is Susanna Afonso from SY Division B, and without wasting a second, let's get started. So, tell me one thing. If we have to begin a day, how is that we begin a day? I mean, for sure, we have to first wake up, and that happens by the sound of an alarm, which most of us do, right? It could either be a very calm, peaceful tune, or else a very powerful, intense tune, which sometimes can give us a heart attack. Well, whatever it is, we all wake up with the tune of a music. Like Sir Friedrich said, I quote, life without music is no life at all, unquote. And it is true, because the moment we hear music, every muscles in our body just tap to its beats. So, how do we define music? Well, technically, um, music is a fine art by which a person arranges sound in time through the elements of melody, harmony, rhythm, and timbre, and in turn expresses the sentiments of one's soul. Whenever we fail to express ourselves, we convey the message through music. The most amazing thing is that each song has an emotion embedded with it. Well, music doesn't have anything to do with language. Um, for example, you can consider we are listening to an Indian classical song, but in English language. So, what kind of vibe do you think you'll get? Although it is we are listening it in English, we will get a vibe of Indian classical itself. In contrast, if we listen to a Western song in a Hindi language, we yet will get a vibe of Western feeling. So, well, with music, you can communicate across cultural, linguistic boundaries, which in turn tells us that music is a universal language. It really doesn't matter which language the song is sung in, as long as the emotion and message is expressed and conveyed throughout the element of music without differentiating the cultural background, language, religion, etc. And that is what I'll be speaking on for today: universal language of humanity, music. Uh, no doubt that without a language, how would we understand the sound, like the song? Like how would we understand the lyrics? But sometimes we just need to interpret the song composition. We don't not necessary to know what are the words say. For example, um, the famous song Despacito. No doubt it is a bit inappropriate for some occasions, but yet the moment we hear the song, we just can't stop from dancing. It just gets pulls us all to the dance floor. So that is what the music. The main thing an individual needs to know is emotion of happiness or sadness, which a person can identify through its composition. Now going on to the down the timeline of music in India over the last 74 years, as we celebrate the 75th independence this year. So the evolution of music has over the last 74 years, it has been began from patriotic songs which boosted the spirits of Indians towards patriotism. Then from Bismillah Khan, who is known for playing the Shanai, to the playback singer Kishore Kumar, then Lata Mangeshkar, and many more. Nashad, R.D. Burman, Lakshmikant, uh, Kalyanji, Anandji are the ones who introduced harmony while keeping the classical folk and flavor alive. Eventually, the Western pop music entered the Bollywood industry, creating music with a fusion of Indian classical, folk, Western upbeats. The upbeat and the electronic music body, which was introduced in the Bollywood from Goa, then the jazz in, music, which had originated in 1920 in Mumbai and Kolkata, where the African American jazz musician performed. They inspired the Goan musicians who had imbibed jazz into the sounds of India's Bollywood industry. In fact, now lately, um, remixing of old Hindi songs are quite popular and is loved by most. Well, no doubt that music is loved by everyone and it is very important to all. It brings in itself positivity and a lot of entertainment. But can you imagine music without, like you going for a party without music? Nah, no way. It's gonna be so boring. We'd rather return back from the party just within few hours. I'm sorry, few minutes. Maximum could be an hour. Then there's this various genre of music, each for a specific occasion. There are some emotions which are attached to every kind of music, as we can easily relate it with everything and everyone around us. It mainly has the power to bring people together in different ways on several occasions. Also, it has impact on our daily lives. Like there's a saying that a song reminds you of someone or a particular time or memory that makes you miss it so much. Well, music can also be termed as a source of communication. In our daily life, there are certain feelings which we fail to express, but through music all the missing words find its way and we can easily communicate our message through people. um, we find the words that we need to express either by writing the song or by listening, but overall it helps us to be quite a lot expressive and helps in understanding our own feelings, which at times people do get confused. uh, Especially the folk songs which tells us stories in a way anyone who can understand, like in a simpler form. Traditional folk music bonds people together. It has more to do with culture and history than entertainment. Everyone loves music, and because it holds the power to transform mood and bring a sense of relief in their daily life. It's said that music is more about, like the music will know more about your mood than how much you know it yourself. It can transform the emotion, feelings of people with no time. That is, it lessens the stress, pain, struggle, distraction, and bring in positivity and calmness in our daily life. Well, from the word distraction, I recall an anecdote. No doubt that music helps me to focus a bit better, but whenever I listen to it while I'm studying, I flow into its rhythm and melody and began to enjoy the music rather than completing my task. Another incident is such that my parents sometimes taunt me on saying, how can you remember the lyrics of a song but can't memorize the matter for an exam? Well, it made me wonder, what exactly does music do to us? It enters our ears but does something way bigger than just enjoying melody. Well, that's the reason it's said that it's easier to learn music. Learn something in a musical form than just randomly by-hearting chunks of topics. That's why when we were small in nursery classes, we would learn first through poems, because we would learn it faster than just learning simple sentences. Well, music can also be described as a therapy for many people because it has a power to heal people's problems. According to some doctors, music therapy has been a great help for the treatment of problems like dementia, depression, anxiety, trauma, etc. There are many children with the learning disabilities who have responded to music set pieces. We all can get our unsolved questions through music. It can make a person loyal and loving as it stays with people until the end of their lives. I'm sure you must have heard that a song never dies, although it might become old, but once it is made, it remains forever. It never leaves the person alone during their difficult times. And also, it holds the power to bring people together in different ways. I hope I have been successful in explaining my topic. Thank you all for watching. Any questions?
If anyone has any questions, you may please ask.
Susan, hello.
Yes, sir.
I have one small question to you. Okay. Can you explain what is EDM, that is called electronic dance music? Can you throw that? Now, most of our, what I observed, whatever the music had been played is like EDM music and not like earlier music with notes. Can you explain something on this EDM?
Uh, I'm actually very sorry, sir. I'm more into Western and Indian classical, so I
Okay,
don't know
okay,
much about it.
okay, it's okay. Good.
Thank you, Susan, for giving us a glimpse of India's musical endeavors. And music definitely forms a big part of our lives. We have finished with our presenters today. I now request Dr. Swati Pawar to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Siddhi. I'm very happy to express my gratitude to Mr. Aureliano de Oliveira, uh,
Thank you.
our Oro, for accepting our invitation as chairperson for today's session and encouraging our student speakers. Our sincere thanks to our principal, Professor Dr. Vrinda Bokar, for her constant guidance. I thank our management for their support. Our sincere thanks to IQAC convener, Dr. Shilpa Saman, and also IQAC committee members for organizing such a beautiful event. A big thank you to all the speakers for today's session, that is Xenia, Sneezal, Athava, and Ratnagiri, and also Susanna. Also, I thank the mentors for today's mentors who guided today's speakers, Dr. Karuna Singh, uh, Mrs. Anju Sakadande, Dr. Shilpa Saman, and Dr. Manoj Ibrampurkar. You all know that these online events require strong technical support. So I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Chandan Naik and assistant professor from chemistry, and Mr. Gaurang Bane, system administrator. And also I thank all the participants for today's session. Over to Siddhi.
Thank you, Ma'am Swati. I now request the IQAC convener, Dr. Shilpa Samant, to give concluding remarks.
I was a part of this conclave from 2021 onwards, and one of the suggestions which we received from our IQAC member, especially Oro, that we should make it as an annual event. And that was one of the things which we took up under IQAC and started or made this as an annual event. I'm very happy to see that we got an overwhelming response for Conclave 2021 also from not only from students but even from the mentors, teacher mentors, which I value a lot because all of us know that we have very busy and hectic schedule. In spite of that, just because we wanted to give a sort of a forum to our students to voice out or maybe to give their point of view as far as variety of topics were concerned. The main essence of this conclave is the freedom which is given to the students to choose their topic of interest and do the presentation, online presentation. I'm very happy to see that today is the last day and we successfully completed Conclave 2021 also with a very variety or a bouquet of variety of topics which were presented by our students. I would like to thank Principal Ma'am for always being encouraging and motivating force behind us. I also like to thank all the IQAC members because each IQAC member took up a responsibility of conducting sessions which were interested on them. Then I would like also to thank all the chairpersons who chaired the sessions and gave their valuable comments. No doubt, teacher mentors played a very important role. So a big thank to them and our student presentators. Very big congratulations to all of you. I cannot forget our own Gaurang for giving us all the technical support which we needed throughout the session. Gaurang is the most busiest person in the MP College. But still he managed to do it, sending the feedback link on time, creating the link on time, putting it on this, and even for that matter, even our own chemistry person. Okay, I would like to thank him very much for all the support which I got from him too. Thank you all once and for all, and we are looking forward for the similar type of response from you all for Conclave 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And now I request our chairperson to give his comments.
Good morning. Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. It is my proud privilege to express my sincere gratitude to the respected principal of Dempi College of Arts and Science and the chairperson of IQAC, Dr. Vrinda Borkar, and the coordinator of IQAC, Professor Shilpa Samant, and other members. I sincerely thank to the IQAC organizing committee for inviting me to chair today's webinar Conclave 2021. I congratulate to all the today's speaker, Ms. Zina Braganza, Ms. Snazel Rodriguez, Atharva Bapat, and Mr. Ratnagiri and Susan Afonso for their today's excellent and very wise topics. Here, I just would like to say regarding the judiciary in India, as I'm a practicing advocate, what I had observed. Today, the judiciary is a real protector of not only of our constitution, but also the protector of the human being and its right to livelihood, right to freedom and speech also. I congratulate the speaker Zina Braganza for her excellent and also Snazel Rodriguez for her contribution and on the topic of Konkani theatre and also the cricket post-independence and also the music. I am very happy to see when this event was started by IQAC. Last year, it was very just growing, but I'm very happy to see this year there is a quite large number of speakers. And same, I would like to appeal all the students to come forward and participate in this event. Before I conclude, I conclude with the wise and excellent words of our former president, Heavenly Dr. APG Kalam. She said, black color is sentimentally bad. Black color is sentimentally bad, but every blackboard makes the student's life bright. Dear students, it is very true. We don't like black. We like other red and other colors. But the black and white, that is blackboard and white chalk, makes our the student's life very brilliant and excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Well said, and it is really true. Uh, I am really thank you to for encouraging our students and giving your nice comments. So thank you everyone, and wishing you Merry Christmas and season's greetings to all of you. We'll see you in the next year in the Conclave 2022. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Wish you all the same.